Onto those and other stories in detail now. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that in the future, Sri Lanka will create the best educational system in South Asia.
He has made these remarks at the opening of the first stage of the newly constructed three-storied building at the National School of Buddhist Girls in Kirimatiyana in Chilaw yesterday. The President, upon arrival at the National School of Buddhist Girls in Kirimatiyana, has declared open the building by unveiling a commemoration plaque. He was also engaged in inspecting the new classrooms, and a sum of 450 million rupees has been spent on the first stage of construction of the new building. The funds have been provided by the government and parents of students. The President has also presented souvenirs to students of the school who have shown excellent performances at the GCE Advanced Level Examination. Addressing the gathering, President Ranil Wickremesinghe pointed out that despite the difficult economic situation, the government is committed to providing modern education for the country's children. It is not productive to dwell on past education systems. President said that instead the country should focus on creating the best education system in South Asia for its future. Education is the strength of the country, and Sri Lankans have always strived to maintain a strong education system. President Wickremesinghe reminded that when he assumed office, the country was bankrupt and political parties were divided. In response, a group of politicians united to form a government and advance the country's economy. Now it is time to think about the future. Sri Lanka is gradually resolving economic problems and moving forward. According to the International Monetary Fund statement, Sri Lankans have successfully secured the funding for the next quarter. Additionally, the Committee of Countries that have officially loaned money to Sri Lanka will meet next week. Following that meeting, the government expects to exit bankruptcy. Minister Susil Premadhanantha said that he is delighted that a school which began with 300 children has now grown to accommodate 3,000 students. Vidyapatha National Institute of Education was established during the tenure of the current President Ranil Wickremesinghe when he served as a Minister of Education. His dedication to education is highly commendable, the Minister said. Under the new education reform, no student will face failure in the general examinations. The government is focused on imparting future-ready knowledge to our students. Simply replacing a traditional blackboard with a digital one does not constitute smart education.
AI, artificial intelligence හඳුන්වා දීමේ නියම ව්‍යාපෘතිය Microsoft ආයත
අපි සියලු දෙනාම දන්නවා අවුරුදු දෙකකට පෙර රට වෙටිලා තිබුණු තත්ත්වය. අපිට පහුගිය කාලේ සල්ලි තිබුණේ නැහැ. අපේ දරුවන්ගේ නිල ඇඳුම් පොත්පත් දෙන්න සල්ලි තිබුණේ නැහැ. මාස ගාණක් පාසල් වහලා තිබුණා. ඒ වෙලාවේ රට බාර ගන්න කවුරුත් ඉදිරිපත් වුණේ නැහැ. දැන් නායකයෝ වෙන්න හදන අය හැංගිලා හිටියා. ඒ ජීවිත අනතුරේ තිබියදී ජනාධිපතිතුමනි ඔබතුමා ඉදිරියට ඇවිල්ලා රට බේර ගන්න ඉදිරිපත් වුණා. දේශපාලන කරන අනෙක් නායකයෝත් බේරගත්තා. දැන් ඒක අමතක වෙලා සමහර අය කතා කරනවා. එහෙම අහනකොට දුක් වෙනවා ජනාධිපතිතුමා. රට වෙටිලා තිබුණ දෙනි ඔබතුමා ගොඩ ගත්තා. කාටත් බෙරිදවල් කරපු නිසා දැන් ඔබතුමා ජනතාවගේ හදවතේ ඉන්නවා.
ජනාධිපතිතුමනි අද සමස්ත ගුරු වෘත්තියටම ගැටලුවක් නොවෙන්න අධ්‍යාපන ශාස්ත්‍රය රැකෙන්නේ ඔබ අධ්‍යාපන ඇමතිවරයා විදියට තරුණම කාලේ ඒ ශාස්ත්‍රය බාරගත්තු නිසා. ගොඩක් අය හම්බුනාම කියනවා මේ යන ක්‍රමවේදය තව චුට්ටක් ඉස්සරහට යන්න ඕන. සමහර අය බලන් හිටියා.
State Minister of Home Affairs Ashoka Priyantha said that under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe during his tenure as Minister of Education, the educational landscape of the country has been elevated to new heights. There is widespread consensus in society that the current initiatives launched by the government should be sustained. He said it is believed that any faltering of the system could plunge the country into regression.
State Minister of Finance Dr. Ranjit Siyambalapitiya says that a committee was appointed yesterday on the program to finalize procedures relating to the importation of vehicles in the future. He has made these remarks to the media in Ruanvalla today. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siyambalapitiya said that vehicle import is an issue that bears direct influence on Sri Lanka's foreign reserves. He further said that they have presented their future programs to the IMF. They have to ascertain the roadmap to restrict vehicle imports. Answers were sought to the problem after making restrictions on the importation of nearly 2,000 items. The Ministry of Finance has appointed special committees to look into the situation. All the divisions that create an impact in the process of vehicle imports were brought before the committee. There is a tremendous need to turn all vehicles operated by electricity by taking into consideration the expenditures and environmental concerns. Now, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that the farmers have fulfilled a prominent task in building the economy of the nation. He has made these observations on the occasion of the opening of a new building at the Divisional Secretariat Division Office of Mahavilachya in Anuradhapura today. The government has spent 285 million rupees on the project, with the objective of providing necessary facilities for farmers living in low-facility villages, including Mahavilachya. Later on, a vocational training centre is scheduled to be added to the facilities. In parallel to this event, presentation of outright land deeds to the farmer community in the area who were deprived of such deeds has also taken place. A group including State Minister Shehan Singha has also graced the occasion.
Former parliamentarian Professor Ashu Marasinghe requests the opposition to divulge their alternative for the IMF without making statements to deceive the general public. He had made this request while expressing opinion of the opposition regarding the IMF. SJB parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva said that the SJB has directly told the IMF that they will revise this program. The main reason is that there is no proper systems to stabilize the country's economic process. Therefore, this economic journey cannot be successful. Under the IMF recommendations, Sri Lanka should have 10% economic growth each year. For this purpose, there should be changes in the IMF program. Professor Ashu Marasinghe said that Harsha De Silva and Sajid Premadasa are able to present to the masses their humanistic approach to the IMF issue, or else their plans change the agreement. The former parliamentarian said that they are playing a game of deceit and lying to the people. Marasinghe further said that they are also blaming the government for selling the resources of the country, but pointed out that nothing has been sold up to date. He also said that the president has brought the country to the present stage by correctly managing the finances of the country. The former MP added that in the absence of the financial management policies of the country, there would arise total destruction. Business management consultant Dr. Chaminda Malalasekara said that if Harsha De Silva is saying that they are giving a more justifiable solution to the IMF deal, they must also inform of ways to increase the revenue of the country and to reduce taxes. They must clearly show how to grant regrets and to reduce the country's expenditure. Dr. Malalasekara further said that if they are having viable plans, they could present them to the people.
Samagi Jana Balawegaya parliamentarian Rajitha Senaratne says that an era of queues would emerge once again in the event of changing the IMF agreements. He has made these observations at a media briefing today. Parliamentarian Rajitha Senaratne said that the upcoming presidential election is extremely crucial. The parliamentarian added that they are well aware of the fact that how 4 governments collapsed in Greece after trying to topple the IMF plan. These countries had been made bankrupt for 10 years due to their involvement in changing the rules. He also said that economic consultants were telling the same to Gotabaya Rajapaksa until the arrival of Ranil Wickremesinghe. Ranil Wickremesinghe was always in one position. The handing of IMF relief does not mean the end of the problem. He added that this is why he says the country is in a very dangerous position. If the country veers away even by a small margin, it would pave the way for the leaving of the IMF, and the country would once again be arriving at an era of queues. The utterances of so-called theoreticians should not be taken into account. It was such a theoretician who brought the country into this status. Rajitha Senaratne added that he was in the cabinet for 20 years. He further said that he came to know how such pundits were acting. They were extremely unsuccessful. Correct decisions would yield benefits for the country and not for political parties. Those who are going to destroy the country should not be elected to power.
In the meantime, in the draft constitution for the Sri Lanka Cricket Board presented to the President, the key recommendations included enhancing administration, training and player well-being across national men's and women's teams. The restructuring of the Sri Lanka Cricket Institute's composition and structure is also being prioritized. The draft constitution prepared by the judge Chitrasiri, the chairman of the committee for the Sri Lanka Cricket Board, was presented to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat today. The draft was handed over to President Ranil Wickremesinghe by the committee chairman, retired Supreme Court Judge K.T. Chitrasiri, accompanied by other committee members. To address the challenges faced by Sri Lanka cricket and provide appropriate recommendations, the Cabinet Subcommittee was appointed on November 6, 2023, chaired by Minister of Foreign Affairs and President's Counsel Ali Sabri. Following extensive discussions with stakeholders involved in cricket, the subcommittee presented its report to the Cabinet on January 8, 2024. The recommendations covered several key areas, including the composition and structure of the Sri Lanka Cricket Board, administration, training and the overall well-being of players at various levels such as the national men's and women's team and under-19 and under-17 age groups. Emphasis was placed on promoting good governance, transparency, professionalism and accountability within Sri Lanka cricket. Additionally, proposals were made to reform the nutritional framework of Sri Lanka cricket across school, district, provincial and community levels, focusing on merit equality and fairness. Based on the recommendations presented in the report by the Cabinet Subcommittee, the Cabinet convened on February 13, 2024 and appointed an expert committee to draft a new constitution for the Sri Lanka Cricket Board, was appointed under the chairmanship of retired Supreme Court Judge K.T. Chitrasiri. Also in attendance was Senior Advisor to the President on National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayaka and others. Architect of Namal Uyana, Venerable Vanavasi Rahula Thera, says all politicians should extend their support to the present president by taking into consideration the future of the country. The Venerable Thera has made these remarks at a media briefing at the Namal Uyana premises today. Architect of Namal Uyana, Venerable Vanavasi Rahula Thera, said that he requests all the parties, including the president himself, to lay aside party politics and get together for a united motive to develop the country. The Venerable Thera further said that only then economic development, debt burden reduction and educational development could be achieved. The founder of the Namal Uyana also said if all political parties join hands to foster a common ideology to help this nation out of misery and arrive at a better place.
Elon Musk might once again get his own way. Tesla shareholders have backed a record-breaking pay package for boss Elon Musk and approved a plan to move the firm's legal headquarters to Texas. The deal was blocked earlier this year by a judge in Delaware over concerns that it was unfair to shareholders. The vote is a victory for the multi-billionaire who had campaigned fiercely for the payout, which is worth up to $56 billion. The exact amount depends on the Tesla share price. He told a crowd of enthusiastic shareholders who had gathered in Texas for the firm's annual meeting that he really loves them. The deal is worth more than 300 times what the top-earning boss in the US made last year, and more than 3,000 times the average CEO's pay package. However, the vote is not binding, and legal experts have said it is not clear if the court that blocked the deal will accept the revote and allow the company to restore the pay package.
EV Motor Show 2024 electric motor car exhibition will commence at the Sirima Bandaranayake International Exhibition Hall in Colombo on the 28th of this month. It will be conducted till the 30th of this month, and the joint organizers of the exhibition are the Ministry of Transport and Highways and the Asia Exhibition and Conventions Institute. A media briefing to enlighten on the event was held in Colombo. State Minister of Transport Lasantha Alagiyavanna said that there is high fuel cost incurred due to people's transportation needs. 35% of transportation services are being carried out by the government, and the rest of the 65% is being met by private sector. He added that there are about 8 million vehicles registered at the Department of Motor Traffic in Sri Lanka. By the month of May of this year, only about 15,000 vehicles have been registered under the electrical vehicle category. The minister also said that conducting a vehicle exhibition is an encouragement for the vehicle sector as well as for those industrialists and vehicle spare part importers and local manufacturers. Managing Director of the Overland Automobile Private Company, Daham Pereira, said that the foreign reserve cannot be increased in the country by importing petrol or diesel cars. He added that the only option available is to utilize the solar technology and encourage the use of electric cars in the country. Through these measures, the money spent to import fuel valued at 6 billion rupees could be reduced.
A program to remove wasp hives in the Nine-Arch Bridge in Allabandarawala has taken place yesterday. The aim of the program was to protect local and foreign tourists who visit the area. The Nine-Arch Bridge in Alla is a hot tourist attraction. On several occasions, the tourists were subjected to wasp attacks. The Bingu Surakam organization on many instances has come forward to remove the nests securely. As a further step in this regard, they were engaged in removing the hives under the supervision of the Alla Divisional Secretariat Division Office, the Tourist Police Unit, the Central Cultural Fund, the Department of Railways and the Department of Archaeology. The Bingu Surakam organization also took measures to control the formation of wasp nests for a considerable period.
We now move on to more local news in brief. Vehicle transport in the Kohuwala junction has been restricted for a period of 2 months from today due to the construction of a flyover at the junction. The police informs general public to use alternate routes during this period. A 3-story building of the Faculty of Technological Studies at the Dhammisara College, Nathandia, built at a cost of 200 million rupees, was declared open by Minister Susil Premajantha today. A sum of 10 million rupees each has been spent for the procurement of physical resources and laboratory equipment. State Minister Ashoka Priyanto also attended the event. The 20th Suvodana Mobile Health Clinic for the year was conducted at the Kahaduwa Purana Mula Mahaviharaya in Alpitia today. The event has been organized under the patronage of the Minister of Health, Dr. Ramesh Patirana. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs, Pradeep Yasaratna, has presided over the annual prize giving of the Samudra Devi's Girls' School of Nugegoda at the PMICH recently. Many students who have excelled were felicitated. A dengue control program has been implemented in connection with the 32nd anniversary of the establishment of the Takshila College, Gampaha. The work is being implemented under the leadership of Principal of the school, T.M. Premavansa, and through the assistance of the Gampaha Municipal Council, Office of the Medical Officer of Health and other state institutions. Reconstruction of the portion of the road from Morakatia to Badumala on the Amblipitia-Morakatia main road has commenced yesterday. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
அன்பேவா இரவு 8:30க்கு உங்கள் நேத்ரா டிவியில்.
On to news overseas now. South Africa's parliament has re-elected Cyril Ramaphosa as the country's president following a landmark coalition deal between the governing African National Congress and opposition parties. The new government of national unity combines Mr. Ramaphosa and the centre-right Democratic Alliance and smaller parties. In his victory speech, Mr. Ramaphosa hailed the new coalition and said voters expected the leaders to act and to work together for the good of everyone in the country. The agreement was hashed out on a day of high political drama, which saw the National Assembly sitting late into the evening for votes to confirm who would hold power in the new administration. Earlier, a deal was struck following weeks of speculation about whom the ANC would partner with after losing its parliamentary majority for the first time in 30 years in last month's elections. It got 40% of the vote, while the DA came second with 22%. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula called the coalition deal a remarkable step. It meant Mr. Ramaphosa, who replaced Jacob Zuma as both president and ANC leader following a bitter power struggle in 2018, was able to retain power.
Pinamu macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
Move On to sports news now. Sri Lankan competitor Ramesh Tharanga has been successful in becoming the gold medal winner in the Asian javelin throwing tournament today.
This achievement has enabled him to establish a new Sri Lankan record as well. Ramesh Tharanga at the tournament in South Korea has recorded an exceptional skill in throwing the javelin at a distance of 85.45 meters. The special feature has been that his performance was only 5 centimeters less than the Olympic qualifying level, which is 85.5 meters. While Ramesh recorded this historic victory, his fellow companion athlete and former Sri Lanka record holder Sumedharana Singha has bagged the bronze medal of the event by throwing a distance of 77.75 meters. Meanwhile, in the women's javelin throwing event, Sri Lankan Dilhani Lekamge has also shown her competence by winning the bronze medal. Her recorded performance was 57.94 meters.
Sri Lanka women's cricketers beat their West Indies counterparts by 6 wickets in a match played at the Suryavava Cricket Stadium in Hambantota today. The West Indies women's team, batting first, has scored 195 runs in 47 overs and 1 delivery. Hailey Matthews 38, Sugandhika Kumari and Kavisha Delhari have captured 3 wickets each. The Sri Lanka women's team in reply have fulfilled the victory target by scoring 198 runs for the loss of 4 wickets in 34 overs and 1 delivery. Harshita Samaravikrama and Hasini Pereira have scored an unbeaten 44 and 43 runs respectively. Vishpi Gudaratna has also scored 40 runs.
Turn around. Oh, big one through mid-wicket. Did this time De Silva 4 runs, and this is a real overs to spare. And this is a West Indies team.
The American team has entered the Super 8 qualifying round of the World Cup T20 cricket tournament since the match against Ireland was abandoned due to rain. Meanwhile, South Africa beat Nepal by 1 run in another T20 World Cup. The South African team came to the field first to bat and collected 115 runs, losing 7 wickets in the allotted 20 overs. Reza Hendricks hit 43. Kushal Bertel took 4 wickets for 19 runs. But Nepal in reply has failed, securing only 114 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in their 20 overs. West Indies bowler Tabris Shamsi captured 4 wickets. Nepal lost the opportunity to beat a test ranking team by just 1 run.
Out. Oh, he drags it inside.
Tinamu macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
And that's all the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.